Wondering how to increase your online reputation? Nothing better than online reviews and testimonials. Today, we're going to share with you exactly how to make your light shine online with Jason Dolle, founder and CEO for Testimonial Tree. You're not going to want to miss this one. All right, Jason, this is something that I'm pretty excited to share with people because, you know, as we've talked a couple of times now, and really I've gotten a better feel for who you are and what drives you. You know what I always say, the best solutions to problems always come, or best companies come out of people having a problem that they solve. I'd love for you to get into a little bit of kind of the history. How did you get started? How did this come about? Because it's a pretty interesting story.
Yeah. Thanks for having me here. Basically my background's computer engineering. So I'm a nerd, as a programmer mostly. And I consult with, I went to Japan and Korea a lot and consult with companies like Hitachi and IBM. So it's pretty nerdy. But my wife's a real estate agent and we had our first baby. And I thought I got my license to help her out. I do open houses and things like that. And I got into it. I really enjoyed it. It was like the opposite of tech, where tech's all about scale and real estate's like a one-on-one relationship. So it was pretty cool. And I was lucky enough to get into the luxury side of stuff. So down here in Naples, Florida, there's a sort of a luxury element. So I got the luxury side of stuff. And I had one customer that flew in the morning out the same day on about a $4.5 million house. And I'm like, man, this guy was my favorite customer. In fact, some of these houses have like wine rooms and stuff. He's like, man, I just drink Bud Light. This is so. Anyway, it was pretty cool. So I was like, how do I get this guy to tell his friends about me? He flew in from like Sioux Falls or something. And I'm like, maybe social media, and what's he going to share? Maybe testimonial. So I use my technical background to build a little MVP, a little minimum viable product to kind of test this hypothesis out. And it worked really well. And then I knew some brokerages, and then I told them about it. And like, hey man, if you make this a product, like we'll pay you for it. So I incorporated it in 13, and the rest is history. And we keep evolving. And I'd say, but the cool thing about our company is, since the grassroots is real estate, like we continue to evolve, but almost every feature, everything in our product is driven by folks like you and our users. Like, hey, I wish I did this or that. And like, we usually have enough customers where it's like, hey, would you use this? And so everything's been driven by real estate for the most part.
Yeah, I know y'all touch on a number of different industries, but real estate is obviously one of the big drivers there. I mean, just to give people kind of an idea of scale, how many roughly agents are y'all servicing now?
That's a good question. We have over 100,000 something users right now. I'd say like probably 80% of them are agents and brokerages.
Yeah, I'll say this, Jason. You know, one of the reasons why we invested in it and you guys so much for all of our agents, where it would be free for all of our agents, was just the ease of use. And you know, one of the things that's been great is, you know, I had to do, when I was starting, I kind of did it on my own. You know, I would send the email with the links to the different places I wanted them to go. I was asking them to do 2 or 3 different steps and doing all these different things. And I got results, but it was so tedious. And so that's why when we found you guys, that's what was so great for us. Let's talk a little bit though about the value, because I think sometimes we get ahead of ourselves. What's really the value of an online testimonial right now? You know, we can do a social media post right now and it's gone. You know, I mean, it's gone in 20 minutes, But a testimonial sticks around. What would you say is really the value of those testimonials?
Yeah. And gets a little philosophical too, I'd say. But like, testimonials have been around since like before the internet. It's like beyond even just regular marketing. It's like how people sort of work. So, and we're just trying to leverage that in a way that makes it more scalable and easy, like you said. So I'd say there's a couple different value points. One, obviously, is for marketing. So you can use them, make images out of them through our platform, or automatically syndicate them places like realtor.com. You know, you can add them to postcards. Pretty much any marketing piece you use, you can add a testimonial, which is they call it social proof. It's like a layer of trust. Like, it's not you saying you're the best, it's someone else saying it. So there's basically increases conversion rates. Like when I was selling real estate, let's say I sold something on the beach, a high rise or something, I would send a postcard to the whole building with a testimonial from that person, in the hopes that they would know who that person is. That's a really easy way to do it. So pretty much anything, open house software, whatever, we get integrated with a bunch of different things. But beyond that, you can also sort of learn what makes you special or different. So like, when you get enough of these things, you'll read them, and people generally will notice like what they think makes you different or makes you special. And it's kind of cool to learn from that and leverage it. And also then from a company standpoint, you can figure out what the trends are. Like I know we did some internal analysis earlier this last year, and about 10% of the textual analysis came in and said, referenced COVID in some way. And it was like little things like, hey, I'm so glad you gave me a new pen, or things like that. So you're able to learn things at scale that maybe you couldn't learn as easy, and that helps the managers and the company sort of help the agents improve and kind of respond a little bit better to what people's expectations are. So there's lots of value prop. And not only that, I will say there's one more thing that it's kind of hard to put an ROI on. And but there's a morale standpoint, like where if somebody takes time to tell you how you help them, like it makes you feel good. And I had one brokerage, and I forget exactly where it was at, but it was like this broker came up to me at this event and said, "Hey man, you made one of my agents cry." And I was like, "Oh crap, what did I do wrong or whatever?" And so I was kind of nervous. And then he's like, "Yeah, man, she had this transaction. It was really difficult, ups and downs. Wasn't sure it was going to close or not. Ends up closing, and this person wrote a really heartfelt testimonial about the experience that sort of recognized all these hoops. And the agent just said she cried. He said she cried. And so like there's something very like human, and I don't know how to explain it, but something that everybody needs a paycheck, but it's kind of cool when people take notice of how you help them. And anyway.
Well, that's that relationship. Sometimes when we're in this business, we're so focused on getting this transaction done, and then you get done and you realize, well, listen, it wasn't just a transaction. There is an actual relationship there by the way that they tell you. It's almost like one of those things we've talked about before, where people that you don't really know how people are thinking until they put it in writing or they tell you. And most people aren't just going to tell you. So it's great to get that, and then it has that shelf life. One of the things that I love that y'all noticed on your website, and this was so powerful to me when I realized this, everybody's getting searched. People are going on Google and searching for people every day. If you don't think that somebody's going to check you out on Google, or just they're going to Google your name, it's hard to imagine that you're operating in today's environment. One of the things that I thought was interesting is that there's a statistic that says that 88% of people value an online review as much as a personal recommendation now. So we're at a place where people are going to possibly, the biggest thing in real estate is getting those personal referrals. Well, in reality, what these testimonials do, they give you the ability to have an online review or recommendation or referral, so to speak, and just confirms that with them. Yeah. That goes into the marketing side of it. Jason, let's talk a little bit about, you talked about utilizing on postcards. Give us some examples of some ways that people are utilizing this. One of the great things for us is the social graphics you guys have that it automates right into social graphics for us online. How are people marketing and using these? Because once you get it, it's only as good as letting people know about it. How are some agents doing that?
Yeah, and a couple of things there. I'd say, there's lots of ways to do it. Obviously, use this content from a technical and strategic standpoint, but so I would say obviously postcards, any traditional marketing as far as your online ads or on your website, we syndicate things to your website automatically. I see some cool things that people are doing, like when in our system, you can easily post to like Facebook or whatever. I see a lot of people will tag their customer because they oftentimes are friends on Facebook, whatever. So if you tag those people, obviously there's a bigger network effect that you're going to have from that kind of thing. Making the images have more of an engagement factor, so in general, which is why that's important. I will go back to one thing you mentioned earlier too about the stats, and another stat that I forget the exact number, but most people only interview one agent in person when they're getting a listing or whatever. And part of that reason is a lot of the research is happening online now. You don't have to interview a bunch of people. The interview process is generally online. Right. And so they're looking at what people say about you. And I had one agent in particular that told me, and this was a couple years ago now that she told me this, but she was up for a listing she really wanted in this one community here. And she knew she was up against these other competitor agents, and she ends up winning it. And the person later told her that they went online and saw these testimonials and figured they couldn't go wrong by choosing her. And so there's some really, so it could definitely help your bottom line. I mean, this is what people expect. And one more thing I'll mention too, in my sales deck from when I'm going to brokerages and selling what we do, I used to have, I think the second or third slide was kind of about all those stats, like about how important reviews are, because back in 13, when I started this, I had to like actually explain how important reviews were. That slide doesn't exist anymore. Like really, everybody knows how important reviews are. Everyone uses Amazon and whatever. Everyone's done that. So we don't even need to explain that anymore. All we're trying to really tell people is we make this super easy and automated, and we just deliver the tools to the agents that let them act on it. Because again, it's if you're in a little your own bubble, like, you know, you need to get this stuff out there. And one of the things that sort of drives me, and when I get sidetracked a little bit, during COVID, I read a bunch of books, and eventually I said, you know what, I think I can read the whole Bible. And I did. I ended up reading the Bible like in like a little over 3 months. So I was like, it was audio, but anyway, there was one verse in Matthew, I think it is, where it said something about let your light shine. And that really resonated with me, because like, I feel like as a company, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help agents like capture what they're putting out into the world. Like, hey, I'm letting my light shine. I'm helping other people. And now people are telling me how I let my light shine. And then beyond that, then you are encouraged then to let that light shine by sharing on social media or whatever. Anyway, there's something really philosophical that means a lot to me. That's kind of cool. Not every software company can get philosophical. So anyway, I kind of rambled there for a minute.
No, let me say the beauty of that is too. I mean, and it's absolutely, you know, this is what we are in a business where when I started, and man, I don't know when I became the old guy, but you know, 27 years ago when I started in this business, it was ABC, always be closing, you know, and now it's ABR, always build relationships. I mean, it's so if you're at a place where you're in that and you do build those relationships, what I love about the testimonials is it gives us the ability to, as you said, let our light shine, but other people are pointing people at that light. You know what I mean? And it's one of those situations where you're not, you know, it's not we're number one. It's I'm so thankful that I have the opportunity to serve these folks and so appreciative for them with all these kind words, and then having the graphic there. Mm-hmm. That's a total different feeling for me if I read that versus somebody saying, closed another one, you know, boom, right. You know, I mean, it's just tired. And I think you're absolutely right. I want to circle back to one thing you mentioned, because this is something we're utilizing with the tool in a big way. Not only are we tagging that buyer, we're tagging everybody that was involved in the transaction. And here's the reason why. So we're tagging the buyer, we're tagging the title company, we're tagging the lender, we're tagging anyone that was involved in this transaction. And the reason we're doing that is that all of a sudden now you get cross-pollination from all of those other places where they see that post with you as shining the light, so to speak, on the hero being the buyer.
Yep.
But the buyer's turning around and shining the light in your face for thanking you, or the seller for thanking you for doing the good job. So there's just so many layers to marketing this and taking it to the next level. But if you don't have those testimonials, you don't have that opportunity to do that. So listen, let's kind of circle back a little bit and talk about that long-term value. We talked briefly about you can use this on posts, but these things don't go away. You know what I mean? They're building up over time. You want to speak to that a little bit? And
they live forever. They live forever. And actually, I was at an event, and one of the speakers in this panel used a term that sort of resonated with me, and I actually used it kind of two different ways. And so people talk about ROI, like return on investment, but he mentioned return on reputation is one of the things that he mentioned, and return on relationship. So it was like two different R's there, but like I feel like that's our sweet spot. So what we're trying to do is capture that sort of lightning in a bottle. Like, this is this really cool experience that someone else wants to replicate, and you can use it everywhere. But you know, the lifetime value it's hard to determine. But you know, I remember another mortgage company I worked with, and it was a big national company. I got on the phone with their, like, it was probably 10 people on the sales call, and I remember this president or CEO. The first thing they said was, I don't know what you guys think, but what's more important people say about you? And so that was like mic drop. It was pretty easy to close that deal. But like, I mean, this really is what matters. So, I mean, when I was working in real estate, in my about page, I mentioned hugs. Like, I really wanted the hug. Like, if I knew if I got the hug at the end, I mean, I did something right. You know what I mean? And the testimonial was sort of an evolution of that sort of like hug. You know what I mean? But it helps you all kinds of marketing pretty much wherever you want. So if you want to use this stuff in a specific way, what you want to do is take testimonials. If you have enough of them, you can actually pick certain ones to use on your CMAs or certain ads, whatever. If I'm targeting this one listing, this one community, try to make it as relevant as humanly possible to that sort of niche. So you can use them like a little arsenal of toolboxes. Let me use this one. If person's worried about, hey, can you close this really fast? Try to find a testimonial that says, hey, they closed this thing really fast, or hey, they got the highest, whatever that is, try to make it relevant to that person. And so, I mean, there's a lifetime value that really doesn't end. The stories don't ever really age. Does that make sense?
No, it absolutely does. Jason, that's one of the things we've tried to do is we will take and we will put them based on the typical things that sellers are interested in. If it's price, then we'll have and we'll do like wanting to get your highest price. And then we'll have 3 or 4 testimonials from the people that have said they helped me maximize that price. They got more than the market we thought it would bear. And then we go to, what is the other one? The next one is convenience, so then we go in there and we say, hey, they made it easy for us. Hey, they helped us in the transition, all those different things, whatever it is for them, time, price, convenience.
First time home buyers, like they want to hey, they took me through the whole process, made it easy. And there's every persona, there's different sort of like wants and needs. And so you just make it relevant, basically.
Absolutely. And the same, it's not just on your website, it's on our mailers, specifically to certain groups. Like you said, specifically to neighborhoods, specifically to those types. So it does give you that ability. And listen, doesn't matter whether that review is one you got 4 years ago or 4 days ago, it's still relevant. So it compounds over time in those things, Jason, listen, man, obviously, how much we appreciate y'all and how much we, just want to make sure our agents have all access to this, have our marketing team just diving in with everything you guys are doing. What are you guys excited about? What are you excited about now that you've been in this for a while, now that you're seeing this grow and really what does the future look like?
Yeah, I mean, we've been around for a while, but I still feel like we're on the launch pad. It's almost infinite amount of innovation you can do around what we're the space we're in, and it's really fun. So there's a bunch of things on the radar for us, and we're doing more with video. We're going to do more with MLS sort of data, like where you can pull in pictures of the property, stuff like that. I mean, there's a lot of cool things that make the marketing aspect of this more sexy, if that makes sense. You can do a lot of cool stuff, but at the same time, making it even easier for agents. Because I mean, I know I was an agent, you're busy, you're showing property all day and you're trying to do the day-to-day stuff and you don't have time to go do those things. So our job sort of is to make all those really cool things really easy to make you look like a superstar. So things around all the automation and making things easier, the schedule posts in the future, that's coming very soon. There's a bunch of different things that we have going on. Again, almost everything I just mentioned was driven by people like you. So you guys, if you ever say, I wish it did this one thing or that, like, don't hesitate to tell us that, because that's what we thrive on. And that's honestly, that's the best kind of customer you can possibly have. One that cares enough to tell you how you can improve and feels confident doing that. So we have a bunch of stuff we're working on, man. It's going to be really cool. The next 12 months will evolve quite a bit, honestly.
So fun. It's good stuff, man. And that's the thing is I appreciate the way y'all keep getting better and better. And in reality, just help us keep shining that light. Listen, if you got any questions, you're curious about Testimonial Tree, just go online. You can find Testimonial Tree there. You can get more details. Obviously, if you have any questions, I know Jason, you can reach Jason. Jason, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
You can you can always go on LinkedIn is one easy way to do it. A lot of people could be on there. You can always email me. My email is jason@testimonial tree. Feel free to email me. I mean, if you call our number, you can get to me too. I'm pretty accessible. So if you need anything, and we have a really good support team too. If you forgot your password or something, we have all that. But if you really want to have some ideas or talk about some stuff, that's my favorite kind of conversation. So, and you guys in particular have been like, I feel like we're part of the family, man. So like you have a lot of influence on the direction we're going. And never hesitate to reach out.
All right. Appreciate everything. Listen, guys, I know you got some value out of this. Make sure you reach out, let Jason know how much you appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. I specifically chose the video below for you because it builds on the one you just watched. I hope it's helpful, and I'll talk to you soon.